You'll notice it's just a bunch of equations. So, as we were talking about last time, I've never really planned my life particularly. I've always just gone wherever it led. And I never objected to the direction it was leading in, and it never sort of slapped me in the face and said, hey, you can't do that. So
Distinguished Professor Bill McCallum didn't really back into mathematics. He was always good at it. But he does admit to a bit of serendipity about his choices. Australian by birth, he was all set to go to Cambridge University in Great Britain on a full scholarship until a well-known university mathematician gave him other advice.
And he said, oh no, you shouldn't go to Cambridge, you should go to America, you should go to, you know, Harvard or Princeton or Cornell or MIT or Berkeley. So I applied to all of those places and, you know, I just sort of took the advice of the last person who spoke to me.
He wound up at Harvard, where he developed an interest in number theory.
One of the attractive things about number theory is that there are these very simple questions that were asked hundreds, maybe even in some cases thousands of years ago, to which we don't know the answers, and which turn out to be really deep and difficult and interesting questions. I mean, it'd be interesting to know of examples.
Another attraction to mathematics is that there is a correct answer.
You always can eventually know who's right and who's wrong in an argument. That is to say, there is a complete, absolute criterion of correctness. There's no such thing as an unresolvable disagreement.
Apparently, when he was in high school, he was the third man on his debate team, and that's the one who destroys the other person's arguments. And he must have been very good, because he's quite good at destroying your arguments if they're not exactly right.
Algebra is logic.
Discussion, if not destruction, is central to his teaching.
Say that again.
One thing about the discussion style is that you can get the most out of it by putting the most into it. So if you're willing to do the readings beforehand and come prepared to class, and you're going to get a lot out of that class.
Out that way. You don't want to tell them,
Getting students at all levels to learn it well has become one of his professional passions. Years ago, working on a curriculum project, he ran into an apparent divide between how professional mathematicians work and how the subject is taught throughout the education system.
I've spent most of my life moving between two very different communities. Mathematics research community on the one hand, and then the community of educators and people who think about undergraduate or school K-12 education on the other.
His passion for improving mathematics teaching led him to push for the creation of the Institute for Mathematics and Education. Funded through the U of A, the Institute will explore how research mathematicians and math educators can collaborate.
You know, how can these groups work together productively? I mean, what kinds of mechanisms can support productive collaboration? What knowledge and resources do the groups bring to the table, and how can that knowledge be brought out and put to use?
I'd like this to provide a sort of professionalization of the disagreements about mathematics education. Make more scholarly the sort of arguments that go on.
You can bet the discussions will be intense, but with more than a trace of humor.
Bill's been a great advisor. He's, like I said, our personalities match up, and we're happy to go, have a beer or something and talk about mathematics.
Everybody, when they're in college, goes through that period of time when you sit around with your friends and discuss the great big issues of all time and debate little things. And Bill, you still do that.
There's the math world, where I drag you over and torture you and make you sort of prove obvious. It's always been, for me, nice to be able to move from this world where the problems are difficult and success is not guaranteed, to a world where you really feel you're doing some good that's of obvious benefit to society.